Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a journey into a name so etched into the fabric of American culture, a figure so iconic, he's known simply as the King.
That's right.
You've asked us to explore the legend of Elvis Presley, and wow, what a rich tapestry of sources you've provided. From his humble, almost unbelievable beginnings to his meteoric, explosive rise, his profound musical innovations, and, the enduring mystique that continues to surround him, we're going to sift through it all. We'll try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight.
Indeed. And Elvis's story is, it's far more than just a musical biography, isn't it? It serves as this vivid window into a truly transformative era in American society.
Yeah.
Particularly concerning the fraught dynamics of race relations and the burgeoning power of youth culture back then.
Right.
Would be meticulously connecting the dots between his astonishing artistic output and the deep, often turbulent societal shifts he both profoundly influenced and unmistakably reflected.
So our mission today is to offer you a genuine shortcut, if you will, to being truly well-informed about Elvis. Peeling back the layers beyond, the glittering jumpsuits and the iconic swivel hips, we'll uncover the surprising facts, the pivotal moments, and the often controversial choices that shaped his incredible, yet ultimately kind of tragic life. So settle in, because we're about to explore the many, many layers of the man behind the myth. Okay, so the story begins not in the opulence of Graceland, as many might think, but in this stark simplicity of a tiny two-room shotgun house in Tupelo, Mississippi.
That's right, January 8th, 1935.
Exactly. Gladys and Vernon Presley welcomed their son, and there's this poignant detail that really sets the tone right from the start. Elvis was born just 35 minutes after his stillborn twin brother, Jesse Garon.
Yeah, that's a heavy start. And that early brush with loss, alongside the pervasive poverty, it deeply shaped the family's worldview, didn't it? Especially Gladys's incredibly protective embrace of her surviving son.
Totally. The family often teetered on the brink, Vernon moving from one odd job to the next.
They frequently relied on neighbors, government food assistance, just to get by.
Right. And biographers note that in 38, they even lost their home after Vernon was jailed for, 8 months? For altering a check.
Wow.
Yeah. A stark testament to their desperate circumstances back then.
So this early life, steeped in deprivation, but also bound by this incredibly close-knit family, particularly that powerful, almost spiritual bond with his mother, Gladys, it truly laid a foundational groundwork for the future icon.
It absolutely did. It imbued him with this deep sense of loyalty, I think, and a profound yearning for security, which, would manifest in various ways throughout his life. And we also see this significant early influence from his family's Pentecostal Assembly of God church.
Right, the music. Exactly.
Yeah.
Here, he wasn't just an observer. He found his initial musical inspiration, immersing himself in the raw, uninhibited emotion of gospel music. That early, emotionally resonant exposure provided a strong foundation for his unique vocal style and the captivating stage presence he would later develop, drawing directly from the fervent energy of those revival meetings.
It's quite a vivid image, isn't it? I mean, imagine a tiny 2-year-old Elvis sliding off his mother's lap in church, making his way to the platform, wanting to sing with the choir.
Oh, yeah?
But he wasn't always this bold, apparently. His first recorded public performance was at a singing contest at age 10, Mississippi-Alabama Fair and Dairy Show. He later recalled placing 5th.
5th place.
Yeah.
Not bad for a first try.
Not bad. A few months after that, he got his very first guitar for his birthday, couldn't read music, learned by ear with informal lessons from his uncles and a pastor. Those sources say he remained very shy about it. And the irony, of course, is that in 6th grade, he was reportedly teased as a trashy kid who played hillbilly music.
Yeah.
And then in 8th grade, his music teacher famously told him he had no aptitude for singing.
No aptitude. That's incredible. For the future king of rock and roll. It just highlights how often raw, unconventional talent is misunderstood early on, doesn't it?
Totally.
And this journey from being dismissed like that to becoming a global phenomenon, it really highlights a crucial insight. Raw talent often defies conventional metrics and formal training. crazy about music, devouring everything he heard.
So what kind of stuff was he listening to?
Oh, incredibly diverse. Country singers like Hank Snow, Roy Acuff, Jimmy Rogers,
Okay.
and gospel artists like Jake Hess, who was a significant influence on his ballad singing style, though maybe not always credited.
Mm.
But what's particularly transformative, I think, is his exposure to regional radio stations in Memphis, like WDIA.
Ah, the race records.
Exactly. Playing spirituals, deep blues, and that backbeat-heavy rhythm and blues. This diverse exposure to both white country and black R&B and gospel was absolutely foundational. It allowed him to absorb and fuse these distinct sounds in a way nobody else had really dared or perhaps even conceived of before.
He just soaked it all in.
He did. Developed this remarkable memory for music and what biographers describe as an almost encyclopedic understanding of blues and country by his late teens.
So with all this simmering talent and these diverse influences, it's pretty clear music was his path.
Seems inevitable looking back.
By the time he graduated high school, June '53, Presley had firmly singled out music as his future. He started trying to record at the Memphis Recording Service, run by the visionary Sam Phillips.
Sun Records.
That's the one. He initially cut a couple of acetate discs, maybe as a birthday gift for his mother, maybe just to hear his own voice. Peter Gralnick suggests he chose Sun, hoping to get discovered.
Makes sense.
Yet nothing immediately came of it. He even failed auditions for local vocal groups, like the Songfellows and Eddie Bond's band. Shows you even groundbreaking talent faces rejection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was Sam Phillips' unique vision, wasn't it, that truly set the stage. Phillips wasn't just looking for a new sound. He was actively seeking someone who could bridge this profound cultural divide.
Right.
Someone who could bring the raw, visceral sound of African-American music, which Sun Records mostly focus on, to a wider, predominantly white audience. Phillips even had this demo, Without You, he thought might suit Presley, but Elvis initially struggled with it. But Phillips heard enough raw potential in his voice to invite two local musicians, guitarist Scotty Moore and bassist Bill Black, to work with him. This wasn't just about creating a new musical genre. It was, whether intentionally or not, about breaking these huge cultural barriers, presenting these previously segregated sounds in a fresh, utterly accessible package.
And then came the magic moment, the one music historians always point to as like the birth of rock and roll.
Yeah.
July 5th, 1954. After an unfruitful recording session with Moore and Black, they're packing up, about to call it a day, and Elvis just spontaneously started singing the song, jumping around and acting the fool. Arthur Crudup's That's All Right, a 1946 blues number. Scotty Moore vividly recalled it. All of a sudden, Bill picked up his bass, and he started acting the fool too, and I started playing with them.
And Phillips heard it.
Phillips heard it, started taping immediately. That uninhibited, raw burst of creativity was exactly what he'd been waiting for. Presley didn't just cover Crudup's song, he transformed it, right? Made it joyous, almost defiant.
Totally. Showcasing this raw, emotive vocal style that completely grabbed Phillips' attention. And this was the sound that swiftly coalesced into rockabilly.
Rockabilly.
A raw, up-tempo, electrifying fusion of country music and rhythm and blues, defined by that driving, prominent backbeat. It was the sound anchored by Presley's first release that truly crystallized the genre.
Scotty Moore's guitar solo on That's All Right itself was described as a microcosm of this fusion, wasn't it?
Yeah, combining country fingerpicking with bluesy bent notes. And the cultural impact was immediate, undeniable. When Dewey Phillips played That's All Right on WHBQ in Memphis,
Oh, phones lit up.
massively. Listener interest was so intense he played it over and over. He even had to ask Presley live on air what high school he attended, just to clarify his race for baffled callers.
Wow. That tells you everything about the time, doesn't it?
It really does. It immediately highlights the racial implications and the revolutionary nature of his sound, boldly crossing these deep ingrained color lines in music. And the flip side, Blue Moon of Kentucky, Bill Monroe's bluegrass song done in this new style, cemented this genre-bending approach.
So, from that electrifying moment, things just moved incredibly fast.
Like lightning.
The trio played publicly for the first time July 17th, 54. Later that month, they appeared at the Overton Park Shell, and it was here that Elvis pioneered his now iconic rubber legs dance movement.
The shaking.
Yeah. A combination of his strong response to the rhythm and apparently intense nervousness led him to shake his legs as he performed. His wide-cut pants exaggerated the movements, causing young women in the audience to just erupt into screams.
Scotty Moore said, during the instrumental parts, he would back off from the mic and be playing and shaking, and the crowd would just go wild.
This physical, uninhibited performance style was something totally new. Quickly earned him names like the King of Western Bop, the Hillbilly Cat, and the Memphis Flash.
But this bold blend of styles and his provocative stage presence initially posed a significant challenge for radio airplay, right?
Definitely. He was too black for country stations and too hillbilly for R&B stations.
Yeah, that era really underscores the inherent, almost rigid segregation in the music industry at the time. Yet Presley, almost just by being himself, was unintentionally breaking those molds, creating music that defied easy categorization.
And that anomaly ultimately became his greatest strength, allowing him to appeal to a much wider audience than any single genre could reach. A crucial turning point came after a rather disheartening experience at Nashville's Grand Ole Opry. They famously told him he didn't suit the program.
Ouch. Again.
Right. But he found enthusiastic success on the more adventurous Louisiana hayride. His second set there apparently inspired an incredibly enthusiastic response.
Okay.
And this burgeoning regional stardom quickly caught the eye of Colonel Tom Parker.
Ah, the Colonel.
His manager, Bob Neal, considered Parker the best promoter in the music business. Parker had managed top country stars, saw Presley's potential immediately.
And he moved fast.
Unbelievably fast. In an unprecedented deal for the time, Parker arranged for RCA Victor to acquire Presley's Sun contract for a staggering $40,000, November 21st, 1955.
$40,055. That was huge money.
Huge. It marked his dramatic leap from regional phenomenon to national star, all before he turned 21. It was a massive statement from the music industry's largest company, signaling this seismic shift. And within a month, RCA began heavily promoting him, aggressively reissuing his Sun recordings to widespread acclaim. The rocket was lit.
And the explosion was immediate.
Just imagine the intense buzz. January 1956 sees the release of his first RCA Victor single, Heartbreak Hotel. It rapidly goes to #1 across the U.S. RCA Victor, seeing this undeniable appeal, sold an astonishing 10 million Presley singles within a single year. Unprecedented for the era.
10 million. Wow.
It was everywhere, making a series of highly anticipated and increasingly controversial television appearances. 6 over just 2 months on CBS's stage show.
Right.
His self-titled debut album, released in March, made history. First rock and roll album to top the Billboard chart, held that spot for 10 weeks.
And that album wasn't just rockabilly like Blue Suede Shoes, which, by the way, some critics like Robert Hilburn called an improvement over Perkins' original.
Bold claim.
It was. But it also included R&B numbers, where Presley masterfully reshaped them, injecting his unique vocal character and making the guitar, not the piano, the driving lead instrument.
So contextualize this for us. What was happening culturally?
Well, Presley's sexually provocative performance style, coupled with his audacious promotion of African-American sounds during this deeply transformative era in race relations, it ignited an immense societal controversy. He was widely, almost hysterically seen as a threat to the moral well-being of white American youth. This wasn't just about music anymore. It quickly escalated into a full-blown cultural battle.
Threat. Strong words.
Very. Presley became the visual and oral embodiment of unbridled youth, and to many conservative white adults, sex itself, which was often viewed as depraved and, alarmingly, linked to anti-Negro prejudice. His meteoric rise symbolized this new, integrated youth culture, giving young people a potent sense of their own unified generation, challenging the old order in a way that truly unnerved the establishment.
It certainly ignited a firestorm. After his infamous gyrations on the Milton Berle show in June '56, where Berle himself persuaded him to leave his guitar backstage, maybe unwittingly setting the stage for the pelvic stuff, critics went absolutely wild. The New York Times Scathing Review declared he had no discernible singing ability and his movements were like blonde bombshells of the burlesque runway.
Oof, harsh.
The New York Daily News went further. Suggestive and vulgar, tinged with the kind of animalism that should be confined to dives and bordellos.
Wow.
He really did become Elvis the Pelvis overnight. A name he hated, right? Called it childish.
He did. And this whole phenomenon is just a fantastic illustration of the profound fear and moral panic that new youth culture so often generates. The FBI even got warnings. A Catholic diocese paper called Presley a definite danger to the security of the United States, claiming he aroused sexual passions of teenaged youth.
A danger to national security because of dancing.
Incredible, isn't it? It strikingly highlights the racial undertones, too. His style was seen as promoting the then marginalized sound of African Americans, which some white adults equated with depravity. When asked if he'd learned anything from the criticism, Elvis, with characteristic defiance, just said, "No, I haven't. I don't see how any type of music would have any bad influence on people when it's only music."
Good for him, sticking to his guns.
Yeah, a remarkable statement of artistic conviction in the face of all that condemnation.
But the relentless controversy, paradoxically, only fueled his stardom, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Ed Sullivan, this sort of moral arbiter of TV, initially declared Presley unfit for family viewing,
Right.
but then he did a complete 180. Booked him for 3 appearances for an unprecedented $50,000. Why? Because the Steve Allen Show had shrewdly capitalized on the controversy, famously beating Sullivan in the ratings with that infamous Basset Hound performance.
Ah, yes, Elvis in a tux singing Hound Dog to a dog in a top hat. Classic.
Exactly. So Sullivan needed him. The first Sullivan appearance, hosted by Charles Lawton, was seen by around 60 million viewers, a record 82.6% of the entire television audience.
82%.
Mind-blowing. And despite the legend, he was shown head to toe, though the camera work was, let's say, discreet. Lots of close-ups when he danced to mitigate the threat. His performance of Love Me Tender alone prompted 1 million advance orders, solidified him as a national celebrity.
And his live shows were just chaos, right? Reports of riots every time, 50 National Guardsmen needed at one fair.
Yeah, the audience response was just fevered, unprecedented.
So beyond music, he also had acting ambitions.
He did, serious ones. In '56, during his Vegas residency, he signed a 7-year contract with Paramount Pictures.
7 years.
His film debut, Love Me Tender, was so popular they actually changed the film's original title from the Reno Brothers just to capitalize on the song.
Smart move.
Critically, the film was panned, but it performed exceptionally well at the box office. Pure star power. From then on, he got top billing in every subsequent film he made, established himself as a Hollywood force, albeit a controversial one.
And musically, this period had some key collaborations too.
Oh, absolutely, particularly with the songwriting powerhouse duo Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller.
Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock.
Exactly. Their partnership produced some of his most iconic songs, helped define his evolving sound. Presley called them his good luck charm. Leiber noted Presley was incredibly fast, learning their demos by heart in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Testament to his innate musicality. He even effectively produced the Jailhouse Rock sessions, taking an active role in shaping the sound. His willingness to collaborate, his intuitive understanding of how to interpret material, key to his artistic output during this explosive rise.
Didn't he do gospel around then too?
He did. Recorded his first gospel EP, Peace in the Valley, in '57. Became a million-seller, top-selling gospel EP in history. Showed his versatility even then, that unwavering connection to his roots.
But just as his star reached these dizzying, unprecedented heights, Uncle Sam came calling.
March 24, 1958. Drafted into the United States Army at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas.
His arrival was a massive media event, wasn't it? Reporters, photographers everywhere.
Huge. Worldwide news. He famously said he wanted no special treatment, genuinely looked forward to his service.
But Colonel Parker had a plan, right?
Oh, Parker always had a plan. With his astute understanding of PR, he convinced Elvis to serve as a regular soldier, not in special services doing shows. Parker believed this would gain him popular respect, solidify his image as an all-American boy.
Even though Elvis himself was worried it would derail his career.
Deeply worried. He thought 24 months away would kill it. But Parker saw the bigger picture for his image.
And that decision, while a calculated PR move, was pivotal for his public image. Transformed him from controversial rebel to respectable, patriotic figure.
Definitely cemented that all-American boy status. However, his time in the Army was also personally devastating. While training at Fort Hood, his mother, Gladys, became gravely ill.
Oh, that's right.
Presley got emergency leave but arrived too late. She died of heart failure at 46. Sources say Presley was utterly devastated, never the same. They had this extremely close, almost childlike relationship.
That must have been incredibly tough.
A profound blow. A wound many biographers contend he never fully recovered from, cast a long shadow over the rest of his life.
While serving in Germany, that's where he met Priscilla Bewley, right? She was only 14.
Correct. His future wife. He was promoted to sergeant too, a point of pride for him.
And despite his physical absence, RCA and Parker kept his career thriving.
Brilliantly executed strategy. Released a carefully curated stream of previously recorded material. They meticulously prepared, had a substantial amount of unreleased stuff.
Smart.
Ensured he still scored 10 top 40 hits, including A Big Hunk of Love, which went to #1 during his 2 years of service. His career momentum continued without interruption.
But something else happened in the Army too, didn't it? Something less positive.
Yes. During maneuvers, he was introduced to amphetamines by a sergeant, became, as one biographer noted, practically evangelical about their benefits for energy and weight loss.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, a telling detail that, in retrospect, sadly foreshadows later struggles.
So Elvis returns to the U.S. March 2nd, 1960, gets an absolute hero's welcome, honorably discharged 3 days later as a sergeant.
The train carrying him from New Jersey to Tennessee was mobbed by ecstatic fans. Clear indication his popularity hadn't waned, maybe even intensified.
His first post-Army single, Stuck on You, rushed into release, immediately shoots to #1.
Right back on top.
Quickly follows up with 2 more chart toppers, the ballads It's Now or Never and Are You Lonesome Tonight? It's Now or Never in particular was different, wasn't it? Classically influenced pop, ending with that full-voiced operatic cadence.
Yeah, showcasing an expanded vocal range, a clear ambition for stylistic breadth beyond his rockabilly roots.
The album Elvis is Back was a critical success too, showcasing his versatility. Grail Marcus described some tracks as having Chicago blues menace.
David Robertson observed the album, conjured up the vision of a performer who could be all things, from flirtatious teenage idol to tempestuous, dangerous lover, a gut-bucket blues singer, even a sophisticated nightclub entertainer.
Wow.
However, this period also definitively marked a strategic shift towards the more polished Nashville sound, a more restrained, cosmopolitan style of country pop.
Commercially successful, right. Broader appeal.
Undeniably commercially successful. But some critics immediately saw it as a definite retrograde step for Elvis, artistically, moving away from the raw, unbridled energy of early rock and roll. The Nashville sound prioritized mainstream pop charts over raw grit.
He reappeared on TV, too, on Sinatra's special.
Yes, May 12, 1960, the Frank Sinatra Timex special, earned an unheard of $125,000 for just 8 minutes of singing.
Insane money back then.
Showed his continued drawing power, his only performance in front of an audience that year. His soundtrack for GI Blues was a #1 album, and his first secret LP, His Hand in Mine, reached #13 on the pop chart, showing his gospel work was commercially viable.
But then, March '61, after a couple of benefit shows, he just stopped performing live for 7 years.
Correct. Ceased public performances for a staggering 7 years.
And this next chapter is where his career takes this really interesting, if somewhat disheartening turn.
At the Hollywood years.
For much of the 60s, guided almost exclusively by Colonel Parker, Elvis focused almost entirely on making Hollywood films and their soundtrack albums. He churned out an incredible 27 films in this decade alone, often 3 a year.
Relentless pace. Initially, he'd actually sought more dramatic, serious roles, inspired by actors like Brando, but after films like Flaming Star and Wild in the Country proved less commercially successful.
Back to the formula.
Exactly. Reverted to the established, formulaic musical comedy. This strategic pivot, dictated by Parker's commercial instincts, ultimately trapped Elvis in this gilded cage of predictable, often critically derided productions.
While virtually all profitable, Hal Wallace, who produced 9 of his films, famously declared, "A Presley picture is the only sure thing in Hollywood." They were almost universally panned by critics, right?
Oh yeah. Dismissed as a pantheon of bad taste, formulaic musical comedies, thin plots, forgettable songs.
And Elvis himself was unhappy with it.
Deeply unhappy. Julie Parrish, a co-star, recalled he actively disliked many of the songs he was forced to perform. Gordon Stoker of the Jordanaires described how Elvis would retreat from the studio microphone because the material was so bad.
Wow.
This period vividly highlights the growing conflict between his genuine artistic desires and the relentless commercial machine Parker had built. Prioritizing box office over creative fulfillment, it was this Faustian bargain. Immense popularity sustained, but his artistic soul slowly, visibly eroded.
So if he was so unhappy, what did this mean for his actual musical output during this time?
Well, the quality of the soundtrack songs undeniably grew progressively worse. Often written by people who, as critics observed, never really understood Elvis or rock and roll, just churning out generic pop.
But he still managed some hits from the films.
He did. Despite the artistic decline in much of his film work, he had popular songs like Can't Help Falling in Love in '61, Return to Sender in '62.
Okay.
And crucially, his gospel album, How Great Thou Art from '67, won him his very first Grammy Award, Best Sacred Performance.
Ah, back to his roots again.
Absolutely. Underscores his enduring, profound connection to gospel music. Some critics considered him arguably the greatest white gospel singer of his time. Truly, the last rock and roll artist to make gospel as vital a component of his musical personality as his secular songs. He even painstakingly crafted the arrangement for the song How Great Thou Art, taking every part of a four-part vocal
No,
himself,
a one-man quartet.
as he jokingly called it, yeah, showcasing his vocal ambitions.
This period also saw personal milestones, didn't it? Marriage to Priscilla.
Yes, married Priscilla Bewley in May 1967 in a brief, rather private ceremony in Vegas. Many hoped it would bring him stability. Their only child, Lisa Marie, was born in February 1968.
But professionally, things were still rough.
His unhappiness continued to deepen. His singles were consistently failing to chart high. Only two made the top 40 between January 67 and May 68. His last soundtrack album, Speedway, barely made a dent in number 82.
Number 82, ouch.
Yeah. This undeniable decline in chart performance, coupled with his deep personal dissatisfaction, vividly underscored the urgent need for a drastic change in direction. It really set the stage for one of the most remarkable career revitalizations in music history.
And this period of stagnation, this creative frustration, was the crucible for that comeback.
Exactly. Colonel Parker, ever the shrewd businessman, recognized the shift. He shrewdly maneuvered a deal for a television special, presented it as an opportunity for Presley to finally break free from the prison of his restrictive movie contract and regain his musical footing.
To remind the world who he was.
Essentially, yeah. To remind everyone of the raw, unadulterated talent that had made him the king in the first place.
The special, just called Elvis, aired December 3rd, 1968, became known as the legendary 68 Comeback Special.
That's the one. Brilliantly conceived production, lavish studio segments alongside, crucially, live, intimate performances where Elvis, clad in that iconic tight black leather outfit,
The leather suit.
played guitar and sang with an uninhibited, almost primal style reminiscent of his early rock and roll days. The director, Steve Binder, bravely pushed for a show far removed from Parker's initial, rather bland idea of just a Christmas song special.
Good call by Binder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Binder's vision was singular. Aggressively reestablish Elvis as a relevant, powerful, and utterly compelling rock and roll performer for a new generation.
And a triumph it absolutely was. Captured a phenomenal 42% of the total viewing audience, NBC's highest-rated special that season, instantly reminded everyone of Presley's raw, electrifying power.
Music critic John Landau remarked with profound insight, "There is something magical about watching a man who has lost himself find his way back home. It was a moment of emotional grandeur and historical resonance.
And for Elvis himself.
Truly liberating." His friend Jerry Schilling famously declared, "He was out of prison, man." Director Steve Binder recalled Elvis telling him with tears in his eyes, "Steve, it's the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. I give you my word, I will never sing a song I don't believe in."
Wow. That's powerful.
And that special, with the black leather outfit, instantly became one of the most famous images of Presley. Later graced a Rolling Stone cover, forever cementing his legendary status. He was back.
So, buoyed by the incredible success of the comeback special, Elvis enters this new, creatively fertile period. He records from Elvis in Memphis in '69, his first secular, non-soundtrack album in 8 years, and it was a revelation.
Critics hailed it as a masterpiece, a sophisticated fusion of country, soul, and rock. Music critic Dave Marsh noted, Presley immediately catches up with pop music trends that had seemed to pass him by during the movie years. He sings country songs, soul songs, and rockers with real conviction, a stunning achievement.
And this album gave us enduring hits like the socially conscious In the Ghetto and the electrifying Suspicious Minds.
Right. Suspicious Minds became his first U.S. pop #1 in over 7 years, and tragically, his very last. The delivery of In the Ghetto was particularly praised, too, for its almost translucent eloquence and clarity and sensitivity, a remarkable departure from his usual vocal style.
This period also marks a conscious and triumphant return to live performing, which Elvis himself deeply craved. Right?
Absolutely. The brand new International Hotel in Las Vegas, huge showroom, 2,200 seats. They booked him for an initial 57 shows over 4 weeks, starting July 31st, 1969.
Big move back to Vegas, considering his first try there flopped.
Very high-stakes endeavor.
Presley.
Keen to resume regular live performing, meticulously assembled a new top-notch band, legendary lead guitarist James Burton,
Wow, James Burton.
and 2 powerful gospel groups, the Imperials and Sweet Inspirations, integrating his deep gospel roots into his rock repertoire. Costume designer Bill Ballou created that striking new stage look too, inspired by Elvis's passion for karate, which would soon evolve into the iconic rhinestone-studded jumpsuits.
The jumpsuits. Okay, so his debut performance back in Vegas.
And
How'd it go?
electrifying by all accounts. He received a standing ovation before singing a single note. and 2 more rapturous ovations after.
Incredible.
At a press conference after, when a journalist called him the king, Elvis famously gestured to Fats Domino, who was in the audience, and humbly declared, "No, that's the real king of rock and roll."
Classy move.
Colonel Parker, ever opportunistic, quickly capitalized, secured a lucrative 5-year, $1 million annual contract for Presley to play each February and August. Newsweek lauded his staying power. Rolling Stone called him supernatural, his own resurrection. His closing number for much of his remaining life would be "Can't Help Fall in Love."
This era also saw a stylistic shift, though, towards a more middle-of-the-road sound, catering to the Vegas crowd.
Yeah, a deliberate move, but he still managed global hits like The Wonder of You, which was #1 in the UK. In '71, testament to his lasting impact, he became the first rock and roll singer to receive the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, then called the Bing Crosby Award.
That's huge.
And an intriguing, almost paradoxical event from this period. His meeting with President Richard Nixon in December 1970.
Right, the famous photo.
Exactly. Elvis offered to help combat drug culture, earnestly asked for a Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs badge, believing he could reach out to hippies. This gesture, while maybe well-intentioned, subtly hints at the complex internal struggles he was already facing, a stark contrast to his public persona and, tragically, a harbinger of things to come.
Interestingly, and somewhat ironically given his later struggles, during this period, people who met him often described him as genuinely anti-drug.
That's true. Cassandra Peterson, later Elvira, recalled his appalled reaction when she mentioned smoking marijuana. He also rarely drank, actively aiming to avoid his family's history of alcoholism.
So he was trying.
Shows a man in the early '70s fighting against the very forces that would tragically consume him later. A complex individual grappling with deep-seated personal demons even as his career soared again.
Tragically, as his professional life resurged, his personal life was crumbling. His marriage to Priscilla became increasingly distant. They barely lived together.
Led to their official separation in February '72. Divorce finalized October '73. Despite the split, they remained remarkably close friends, even walked arm in arm from the courtroom, a testament to their enduring bond and commitment to their daughter.
Priscilla later recalled they lived life like we were never divorced to maintain stability for Lisa Marie.
But the failure of his marriage was widely seen by many close to him as a profound blow from which he never truly recovered, added another layer of grief to his already complex emotional landscape.
And the significant personal upheaval, combined with the relentless pressures of nonstop touring, it has a devastating impact on his health. Right?
Undeniably. This period marked the beginning of a serious, precipitous decline, characterized by multiple barbiturate overdoses and a growing pethidine addiction.
Pethidine. Demerol, essentially.
Correct. His primary care physician, Dr. George C. Nichopoulos, Dr. Nick, later noted Presley, felt that by getting drugs from a doctor, he wasn't the common everyday junkie getting something off the street.
Wow, that's a dangerous mindset.
Extremely. Allowed him to rationalize his escalating drug use, believing he was managing his health medically rather than spiraling into addiction, an insidious self-deception that facilitated his decline.
Despite his visibly failing health, he tragically embarked on this intensive touring schedule, 168 concerts in 1973 alone, his busiest year ever.
Incredible number. The accounts from those around him during this period are truly heartbreaking. Road manager Joe Esposito described him arriving at concerts falling out of the limousine to his knees, barely able to function.
Oh my God.
Often held onto the mic like it was a post, his once lithe body now all gut, his speech frequently slurring. Many performances saw him so fucked up, as one musician grimly put it, barely able to pull himself through his abbreviated concerts.
His bandmates must have seen it all.
Keyboardist Tony Brown recalled the constant uncertainty. Is the tour going to happen? Guitarist John Wilkinson remembered him struggling profoundly to remember lyrics, being impossible to understand.
And then that book came out, Elvis. What happened? By his former bodyguards?
Yeah, detailing his escalating drug misuse only added to his distress, fueled his paranoia, further isolated him in his final years.
The severity of his decline is just starkly illustrated by all these accounts. A global icon, still commanding huge audiences, yet battling profound personal demons and a rapidly deteriorating body behind the scenes.
Exactly. His condition continued to decline precipitously. Canceled shows became more frequent, increasingly confined to his room at Graceland, often gripped by paranoid obsessions, retreating further into himself.
His last single, issued during his lifetime, Way Down, came out in June '77.
A country gospel tune.
Two concerts from that same month were taped for the Elvis in Concert TV special, which aired after his death. Recordings from the first of those, in Omaha, paint a chilling picture. His voice almost unrecognizable, sometimes talking more than singing, casting about uncertainly for the melody.
So sad to hear.
His final poignant concert took place June 26, 1977, in Indianapolis at Market Square Arena, a melancholic end to an unparalleled touring career.
And then, just weeks later, August 16th, 1977, his fiancée, Ginger Olden, discovered him unresponsive on the bathroom floor at Graceland.
Rushed to Baptist Memorial Hospital, pronounced dead, only 42 years old.
Yeah. The news sent shockwaves across the globe. President Jimmy Carter issued an official statement crediting Elvis with having permanently changed the face of American popular culture, testament to his undeniable impact.
The immediate aftermath of his death was shrouded in chaos and controversy, wasn't it? The cause of death.
Oh, yes. The Memphis medical examiner, Jerry Francisco, swiftly announced cardiac arrest and, incredibly, denied drugs played any role, even before the autopsy was fully complete. Led to widespread allegations of a cover-up, fueled public skepticism.
But the lab reports later told a different story.
Completely different. Released 2 months later, they strongly suggested that polypharmacy was the primary cause of death.
Polypharmacy, the use of multiple drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In Elvis's system, there were 14 drugs, 10 of which were present in significant quantity. Forensic pathologist Cyril Wecht later concluded it was an accidental death from a lethal combination of depressants.
And the controversy around Dr. Nick's overprescription.
Huge controversy. Dr. Nikopoulos, in the first 8 months of 77 alone, prescribed over 10,000 doses of sedatives, amphetamines, and narcotics in Elvis's name. Led to serious questions about medical ethics, and ultimately, Dr. Nick's medical license was permanently revoked in the 90s.
But there's still debate about the exact cause, right? Underlying health issues versus drugs.
It remains a compelling, ongoing debate. A 1994 reopening of the autopsy report by Miami-Dade coroner Joseph Davis surprisingly suggested nothing in any of the data that supports a death from drugs, pointing instead to a sudden violent heart attack. However, other pathologists involved initially noted clear evidence of chronic illness, diabetes, glaucoma, severe constipation, and a body racked over a span of years by a large and constant stream of drugs. Forensic historian Michael Baden viewed it as complicated. Elvis had an enlarged heart for a long time. That, together with his drug habit, caused his death, but he was difficult to diagnose. It was a judgment call.
So, a complex medical history. Underlying issues undoubtedly exacerbated and ultimately overwhelmed by years of unchecked pharmaceutical abuse.
Precisely. A tragic end fueled by multiple factors.
So with all these layers of success, struggle, and tragedy, what does this ultimately mean for his enduring legacy? Even after his death, his music kept charting.
Remarkably, yes. 6 posthumously released singles hit the country top 10 between 77 and 81. Graceland, his iconic mansion, opened to the public in 82.
And became a huge attraction.
Second most visited home in the U.S. after the White House. Declared a National Historic Landmark in 2006. Cemented its status as a profound cultural landmark, a symbol of his lasting impact.
This transformation of Graceland into an almost sacred pilgrimage site really reflects his cultic status, doesn't it? As Ted Harrison put it, as if he has been canonized by acclamation.
Absolutely. Thousands still gather for that solemn candlelight vigil every anniversary of his death. Highlights the incredible, almost spiritual devotion of his fans, a phenomenon persisting for decades, transcending generations. And he inspired countless impersonators, each contributing to the perpetuation of his mythical status, keeping his image and sound omnipresent.
The King's influence, far from fading, has proved remarkably resilient. That Junkie XL remix of A Little Less Conversation in 2002.
Huge hit. Top charts in over 20 countries. Returned Presley to the top of the Billboard chart for the first time in almost 3 decades.
And he consistently remains one of the top-earning deceased celebrities.
Yeah, testament to his enduring commercial appeal. Fueled by projects like Cirque du Soleil's Viva Elvis, new entertainment complexes like Elvis Presley's Memphis, and innovative albums setting his timeless vocals against fresh instrumental tracks, introducing him to entirely new audiences.
An incredibly insightful aspect of his legacy is his pivotal, though often controversial, role as a cultural integrator. Little Richard said, "He opened the door for black music." Al Green, "He broke the ice for all of us."
Powerful statements. They directly challenge that discredited yet stubbornly persistent rumor that he simply stole black music. Presley himself always acknowledged his profound debt to African-American artists, unequivocally stated, rock and roll music is basically gospel or rhythm and blues, or it sprang from that.
He never shied away from recognizing the roots, even broke segregation laws attending the Memphis amusement park on colored night early on.
Exactly. Demonstrated an intuitive understanding of and respect for the origins of the music he so passionately performed.
He's often lauded as the greatest cultural force in the 20th century by figures like Leonard Bernstein, who said, "He introduced the beat to everything, and he changed everything: music, language, clothes."
High praise indeed. And the impact on his peers was profound. John Lennon, nothing really affected me until Elvis. Bob Dylan. First hearing Presley was like busting out of jail.
Wow, speaks volumes.
Incredibly powerful statements about his impact on fellow artists and the entire music landscape. He's been inducted into 5 music halls of fame: rock and roll, country, gospel, rockabilly, Memphis. Posthumously received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2018.
And the records he holds: most RIAA certified gold and platinum albums.
RIA certified meaning officially verified sales, gold for 500,000, platinum 1,000,000.
Right. Most #1 albums by a solo artist on the UK albums chart. Sales estimates from 500 million to 1 billion records worldwide.
Staggering numbers.
Considering the brand narrative of his life, Elvis initially epitomized the American dream, right? Rags to riches.
Quintessential example. Rose from profound poverty to unimaginable fame and riches. However, in his later years, and certainly after the posthumous revelations, he also regrettably became this potent symbol of excess, even gluttony.
The Elvis sandwiches, fried peanut butter, banana, bacon.
That and the very public details of his struggles with addiction. This dual image, transforming from aspirational icon to cautionary tale, adds incredibly complex layers to his enduring legacy, a powerful reflection of the intoxicating and sometimes destructive nature of fame.
Then there's the enduring, almost mythical image of the sex symbol. George Melly called him the master of the sexual simile, treating his guitar as both phallus and girl.
Yes. And while overtly marketed as an icon of heterosexuality, some critics, like Peter John Dyer, perceptively saw his image possessing an aggressively bisexual an appeal. Film scholar Brett Farmer even places his orgasmic gyrations in Jailhouse Rock within a lineage of cinematic numbers offering spectacular eroticization, if not homoeroticization, of the male image.
That ambiguity only intensified his massive appeal and mystique, didn't it? Contributing to his almost supernatural allure.
Absolutely.
And of course, we can't forget the infamous Elvis sightings and the persistent conspiracy theory that he faked his own death.
Yeah. While declining in adherence, it speaks volumes to the almost mythical, larger-than-life status he achieved. The New York Times reflected that before Elvis was camp, he was its opposite. A genuine cultural force, noting his hard-rocking music and sultry style have triumphed so completely.
His story clearly continues to be told and reinterpreted. Baz Luhrmann's 2022 film Elvis grossed over $261 million worldwide, captivating a new generation. And an upcoming documentary, Epic, Elvis Presley in Concert, set for September 2025, promises previously unseen footage, further fueling public fascination. The sheer cultural range of his music, as Greil Marcus beautifully describes it, has expanded to the point where it includes not only the hits of the day, but also patriotic recitals, pure country gospel, and really dirty blues.
This continuous reevaluation, celebration, and exploration ensures his indelible mark on culture will resonate for generations to come.
So, wrapping this up.
In reflecting on Elvis Presley's immense and deeply complex journey, from those humble, poverty-stricken beginnings to unparalleled global superstardom, we truly see a figure whose life both mirrored and powerfully shaped the dramatic cultural shifts of the 20th century. He was, without question, a pioneer, an innovator, a figure of immense controversy, and ultimately a profoundly tragic one. But his indelible impact on music, on culture, on society at large remains utterly undeniable. A testament to his unique artistry, his raw magnetism, and his enduring, almost primal stage presence.
Indeed. He didn't just introduce a new beat, he fundamentally changed fashion language, became the very blueprint for what a rock and roll star could be. From the spiritual translucence and reined-in gut sexuality of his slow weeper to the powerful, versatile vocals that can make him that one-man quartet, his artistry was as varied as it was impactful. So for you, our listener, here's a final provocative thought to mull over as you reflect on his legacy. If Elvis Presley were alive today, given his unique ability to fuse genres, to connect across cultural divides, and to consistently reinvent himself, What musical direction do you think he would be pursuing in our current landscape? And how would he navigate the intense complexities of modern celebrity, the omnipresence of social media, and the intense scrutiny that comes with it all?
That's a fascinating question to ponder.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the extraordinary life of Elvis Presley. We truly hope you're leaving feeling not just informed, but genuinely inspired by the many facets of the king.